Okay, so I'll just do a little opening framing for our half hour together on the subject of mentoring, which is to tell everyone who's listening. Right, we're focusing on mentoring now. So most international talent arriving in Finland does really find it useful to have a mentor to create networks and find out about opportunities and so on. So this session today is to open up for you what kind of mentoring networks exist. Also, if you're a mentor and you're interested to do some, increase the likelihood of international talent integrating into Finnish working life, you might want to volunteer or get involved with these organizations. And also we're going to focus on the concept or the fact that mentoring is a two-way street, that there's a lot of benefits that the mentor can gain from engaging in these activities. So to delve into this topic, I'm really happy to welcome Marina Ponomareva, who manages the Helsinki Chamber of Commerce-backed mentoring program EntryPoint, which was well mentioned also at the start of the day's proceedings. And Stephen Tehost, the Director of Recruitment and Staffing at Point of Potential, a new recruitment agency in Helsinki that focuses on highly educated talent, international professionals and international newcomers to Finland. And Rasheka Scott, who's the Senior Legal Counsel at Fondia and founder of Black Professionals Finland. And she also joins us with her other hat, which is as co-founder and mentor of YouWowMeHelsinki, which is a mentoring group for young ladies aged 18 to 24. If we're lucky, we will also be joined by Lasse Leponiemi, who is the chairman of Suomen Mentorit, the mentors of Finland. So I think in chat we'll also be dropping in some links related to these things, including also another mentoring service called Dörren by Lukkan. Dörren has a virtual stand and deal room, and I recommend that if you're international talent, you check it out. You get to have virtual cups of coffee with people in your industry around Finland. So Marina and Stephen and Rasheka, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emma.
Yeah, so I was thinking, well, do you want to open up with a short word on what your mentoring organization does and is for and so on?
Well, I think mentoring, I'm glad to be part of this discussion because I think mentoring is often a very important part that is forgotten when it comes to diversity and inclusion. There's a lot more that comes to this topic than just hiring a foreign talent. That's also why we decided to build a business model around it at Point of Potential, is that we realize that just hiring an international talent it's more than just an hiring and recruitment process. And the interesting part is that by doing this, which we started in March this year, is that we realize that it's not just mentoring the international talent, but it's also mentoring the employer side, the team where this international talent will be working in. If it's an inclusive team, meaning that it's a team that also has other foreign people working in that team, makes it slightly different and easier maybe for the new talent. But if it's a homogeneous Finnish team, then of course it's going to be a challenge because there are simply cultural differences between the new recruit and the team that this person will be working in. And what is very important is that, yes, you can mentor that candidate and you can mentor him and make him aware of cultural differences or company cultural values. But still, working on a day-to-day basis in a team with people, that means that you need to also have the other side of the table understanding where that particular candidate is coming from. And that part, what I funnily enough understood, is often forgotten, or that the employer just thinks that, hey, we got everything under control. We already hired international talents in the last few months or years. We know how to deal with this. But every single recruit is unique and different and has to be treated like that because not everyone has a similar background. Even people that come from a similar country might be totally different as a person. So I think that the mentoring can really be very valuable, both for the candidate and for the employer, as long as both parties are mentored properly. And I think that is what we are trying to do as well, that any candidate that we at least will place with a company where we will definitely provide the mentoring for both parties.
Lasse, just to say welcome. I'm glad to have you with us. I've explained what your role is.
Yeah, glad to be here. I was rehearsing by myself, sort of being lost in the different rooms. So my name is Lasse Leponiemi, and I'm the chairman of Mentors of Finland. And what we are doing, we are having different kind of mentoring programs for unemployed graduates around Finland.
Thanks, thank you. Rasheka, Marina, would you like to jump in?
Rasheka, would you like, or should I start?
You can go first. I'll be last. It's okay.
Okay, but not least.
No.
Okay, and I'll be brief. So I'll just introduce myself and just what the gist of our program is. So hi everyone, I'm Marina Ponomareva. It's very big pleasure to be here, also surrounded by such mentoring giant professionals. I work at Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce, and I'm talent expert and program manager of EntryPoint Mentoring program. So just what makes us different is, first of all, is cross-cultural mentoring program. So we are not only tied to either mentoring in Finnish language, or usually it's very diverse. So for example, mentors can also be talented expats who have been here for a certain amount of time. And I think they have been a great addition to the program. And last but not least, also our program is known that it empowers both mentors and mentees, because often the benefits for mentees are very on the surface. However, I always highlight when I recruit mentors and to the existing mentors that you have also so much to learn from your mentee, and just use that opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi, I'm Rasheka, and I'm basically the co-founder and the mentor at YouWowMe Finland, which I founded with a young high school graduate last year, actually. And the point of YouWowMe is to sort of nip the possible insecurities of future female leaders in the bud, starting from now. And in terms of my sort of collective, it's a little bit different that the target audience is not necessarily what you would traditionally consider international talent, but it's perhaps a way of international talents. So people who have grown up perhaps elsewhere or have some kind of, diverse background. They are in Finland, but they experience the Finnish society in a different way. And on the other hand, I founded Black Professionals Finland, and that's more of a sort of peer mentoring. So there you do have international talent who, although they have been here, they find that on the job market, they still are treated like international talents or newly arrived. So those are sort of the two platforms through which I do some sort of mentoring.
I'll just do a little informational. If you're sitting listening to this and thinking, what the hell is international talent? Am I international talent? Then I join you in this crisis. I ask myself, am I international talent? You know, my dad's Finnish, my mum's English, was born here, lived elsewhere. Am I international? I don't know. Well, it turns out that I am, because I might be a returnee with a Finnish passport. But according to the Talent Boost definition of international talent, that covers quite a lot of things. And I recommend you Google Talent Boost cookbook, and then find definition, and you'll have a little paragraph. It'll tell you what is an international talent. Yeah. So I must admit, I have a bias towards wanting to understand more about diversity and inclusion, and how mentoring can be part of the complex system we need in Finland to make that a reality, an included, diverse workforce and society. So I'd be very interested if each of you could, Rasheka's already started touching on this. You might like to kick us off, actually, a little bit about that. How can mentoring be part of a social change, I suppose, in Finland?
Actually, I think it's quite central and crucial. And I find that the most effective sort of mentoring is one that takes into account diversity and inclusion. Personally, for me, if you don't see it, you cannot be it. So I think that having someone also on the sort of in the public sphere that looks like you, shares some kind of background, but as well as having someone who you can actually speak with and share your concerns, and who can encourage you, perhaps even before you get to the job market, to direct you into more challenging studies or give you the courage for you to go ahead and do those things. So it's all about a sort of meeting of the minds. And if you are a mentee and you are never in contact with any kind of mentors or people in the public sphere who resemble you, it's sort of hollow in a way. It's hollow to as a concept for me, at least.
I'm hearing undertones also about role models. So yeah, we need to see role models that resemble us to feel encouraged. Well, that's one of the things that brought me to Finland, actually, was how many women there are, for example, in politics and positions of leadership. And I thought, well, my little girls, I'd like them to grow up in a country where they think it's normal that the president or the prime minister or government officials or CEOs could be women. And they see that all the time. And so, yeah, we're hearing that the importance of mentors being diverse and representing the workforce. So Lasse, Marina, Stephen, can you tell us a bit about your work to ensure that your mentor pool is diverse and reflective of the mentees you might be welcoming?
Sure.
Yep.
Very briefly, we do have a pool of mentors ourselves. They are from diverse backgrounds that we work with. And actually, what is really recently, we agreed actually a big program together with Ernst & Young. They have the EY Ripples program. That is a global initiative whereby they would like to help international talents to enter the market. So from January onwards, we have this big program going on in Finland, whereby 200 talents can actually sign up for this mentoring program that we then do together with EY Ripple program. And that's a big step forward because these are very professional people with a very diverse background, also culturally. And I think that is very interesting for international talents. Let's say you are from Brazil or you are from Germany or from wherever you are, that you most likely will get a mentor with a similar background. And they have lived then in Finland for several years. And I think it works both ways. I mean, you do the mentoring partly as a support on what might help you to integrate and to live in Finland comfortably. But what is even more important is also from a Finnish business cultural point of view, how can you be mentored there as well? Because the Finns have their private environment and their work environment. They're not necessarily overlap all the time, meaning that you need to be aware of the differences. So if you do talk and do business with a Finnish person within a business context, you might need to be aware of certain ways of do's and don'ts. And so this is what we try to focus on.
So Marina, about the diversity of your mentor pool.
Well, I would say can also concentrate on both mentees because, I don't only see like that part of the program. So for me, it's more like a community of both, like diverse professionals. So I would say that anytime I'm recruiting, like either when I'm going through the applications or when I'm, so to say, headhunting mentors, I always think like how diverse is the experience in terms that can they understand the challenges that, for example, international talent can go through. That's, I would say, like one of the main criteria for me. Of course, the potential to be a mentor to how can I say, like to international talent is also very important. They might know the challenges, but also, for example, like how Rasheka mentioned, can they be a role model? Because I do think that it's ingrained in us to, when we look for mentors, we do think like, can I be them in several years? Like, can I look up to that person? And also last but not least, sometimes, like also what we discussed, like the background do need to be similar often. However, I also look at the complementary difference because that's also where the diversity comes, because you can really bloom a really great partnership if like the difference are not so, like how can I say, meshing up badly, but also that they're very complementary. Like I saw those kind of like pairs grow like in the first and the second round, and I think they have been actually one of the strongest sometimes because they really benefited from each other. So that was in a nutshell. Yep.
Yeah, that's That's interesting. That last point made me reflect on a conversation I've had recently with a mentor from Lasse's organization, Suomen Mentorit, where this white Finnish man had been mentoring a person of color, younger, and through this mentorship had really lived what this guy had experienced in terms of not getting called to interviews, of wondering what disadvantage his name was causing. And it was a very big lesson for him in empathy and understanding about the structures of society. And he was very thoughtful about his experience. He had 2 mentees like this. And it was, on the one hand, for me, a bit sad and discouraging to know that these structural issues can exist. But on the other hand, I rejoice that, eyes are being opened, and with the noticing and the knowledge, change can start to happen. And in his case, he also leveraged his white privilege there to step in and say some supportive things for this guy outside the mentorship relationship. So Lasse, do by all means, to be fair, answer the same question as everyone else, and then we can maybe go on to discuss more about these structural issues.
Yeah, so in our mentor pool, we have approximately 700 professionals who are helping these young graduates to find the working place for themselves. So they are coming from the various of backgrounds. But that being said, I have to admit that most of them are Finns. They might not have as international background than in some smaller programs people are having, especially kind of like targeting for international people to do the mentoring. So in our case, the Mentors of Finland was founded in 2012 to especially help young people to find a place to work in the recession we were going through at that time. And of course, because we have so big amount of mentors, they are coming with different experiences and different backgrounds. And now I'm very happy to also announce to everyone who is watching the stream that for the first time, actually this fall, we started the English mentoring program for international talents who are looking for a place to work in Finland. And this experience Emma was describing is actually coming from that program. And I think it's very valuable, because when we are able to bring people together and start these conversations happening, we are able to learn a lot on both of the sides.
Mm. Can we co-create any solutions and paths forward here? We've got EntryPoint, we've got YouWowMeHelsinki, Point of Potential, Suomen Mentorit. We're sitting on data relating to exclusionary practices and structural issues faced by international talent. What can we do with this information that's progressive and forward-moving?
Well, to be honest, it's all good to have the mentoring, and we can mentor all day long. But eventually, we are all facing the challenge of opening up the Finnish workplace to international talents. At least that's what we are facing on a daily basis, is that, yes, there are a lot of companies that think about it, they talk about it, they might even, consider doing it next year. But the actual actions taking place of recruiting international people is still going on a small pace. It's an evolution, not a revolution. And as long, that is the case, at least from my angle, and of course we are a recruitment agency, the mentoring for us starts really happening when people are placed at the companies. So I really and truly hope that development is speeding up in the coming years, hopefully months, so that, the mentoring when it comes to international talents becomes also more valuable for those people, because yes, you can mentor them partly and prepare them for entering the markets. But if there are no opportunities to enter the market, yes, you can mentor the heck out of them, but they get only more frustrated.
I think Rasheka had her hand up on that.
Yeah, I just want to add quickly that excellent point, Stephen. And I think that perhaps the solution would be to get some of these decision makers to actually be involved as mentors, so that they get to know the individual mentees. so that the hiring practice is not just this cloak of international talent, but it is instead Stephen, it is Marina, it's Rasheka, it's Emma, to know that there is a sort of a diverse pool of people from which to mentor, but not that it's just one group lumped into one. So you hire who you kind of know. It's the familiarity aspect, isn't it? So one solution would be to actually get to know these people individually. And to that point, the initiative that you have with EY is an excellent start, I find.
I think that you're fully right there, Rasheka, and I think that is the whole point here. And we are now actually reaching out to more and more business leaders, exactly what you mentioned, to bring this point to their attention, even though those business leaders often have a very busy agenda, but we still like to convince them to spend a few percentage of their valuable time on talking to international talents, understanding where they are coming from, the challenge they face, because most of the time they have no clue what challenges they are facing. And sometimes it's a very small one that is easy to overcome. But often it's also the point, as like I said before, and I don't want to repeat myself, is like an international talent can only be as successful as the opportunities that he is getting. Mm-hmm. And if that opportunity is not there, he can be as skilled, as experienced, and we can mentor him or her as much as we want, but we need that person on the other side of the table to embrace it, to realize like, hey, this is something that our company needs. This is a skill set that we are lacking, regardless of the background. So let's, at least give him or her an opportunity to join our company, and then we will mentor the way through it so that we actually take away the small hurdles that might come up. And often, what we have realized is that the mentoring program is actually a very fun program to do because it's light. We don't take it too seriously, and we are very practical, hands-on. So we take things that happen on a daily basis and we discuss them and we try to view them from both angles so people start to understand where they're coming from. And I think that is exactly what we want to do. Let's not make it too heavy. Let's not put too much weight on it, but we need to create more opportunities and more chances so that we can do more mentoring.
Absolutely. And I suppose if we're thinking about pumping out solutions, there's the entrepreneurship path also where mentoring can play a role. So make your own job. Mm-hmm. There could be mentoring of the first portal into a Finnish organization, which will be a recruiter or an HR person. Maybe they've never hired an international talent before. Maybe they've never worked abroad or tried to get a job in a different country. And maybe that would be a really effective mentoring space for two-way mentoring. Any thoughts on that, Marina or Lasse?
Yeah, I can give Lasse way first because he wanted to add before. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so this is actually something I wanted to touch with my next comment. So many of the mentors we are having in our network are coming from small and medium-sized enterprises or companies, and often the workforce in these organizations is not very diverse, whereas in a bigger and in more international companies, you are seeing more people with various backgrounds as a part of the employees. And I kind of personally see that many of the smaller organizations are kind of walking away from a big possibility opportunity they could be getting through these international talents, especially when they are looking for more international markets or working with international in different countries or finding this new kind of clients and partnerships. And so therefore I would like to encourage all kind of all the company owners and HR managers who are watching the stream to also consider how they could be bringing these international talents as a part of the organization. And I'm really relating what Steven and Rasheka were saying earlier, that sometimes these organizations might lack the competence or the positions to be able to hire these international talents, and we should be able to create these enabling factors or encouragement for them to do so, because the mentoring in the end does not help if there is no places where you could apply. And that was also kind of partly the feedback we got from our mentee who were finding a struggle to kind of like to even get into those interviews. But I think like Marina has more to say on this front as well. So over to you.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to say that I second your encouragement to all the HR professionals specifically out there, because also we know that in the company itself, you can always organize as one of the HR responsibility your own mentoring program, and it can be really overwhelming. So what I heard from our participants from the previous rounds who were specifically HR, it was kind of like, oh, I wish I found that sooner. Not only that, what we all discuss in here is that they're very keen on getting to know international talents, but now they also have an understanding, for example, from EntryPoint experience on how to run their own mentoring program. And I think that many companies, from from my observations, they don't have their own mentoring programs. And I think also when the company is international and want to embrace inclusion and diversity, that can be really also a great tool for them to do it. And last but not least, I also believe that's a great talent retention tool that the company shows that you're very much valued. We want to mentor you internally and things like that. So yeah, so that was in a nutshell.
So EntryPoint is a Helsinki Chamber of Commerce backed initiative, isn't it? So
Correct.
If we have got non-capital region centered people here also. So if they're outside of Helsinki wanting to set up a mentoring program like that, can they get in touch with you for some pointers or advice?
Yeah, absolutely. I get questions, I would say not all the time, but quite on a continuous basis, like to share my best practices. And I'm very happy to share because I think, once you suffer through it, you really, really know how to do it. You can explain very much in detail. So I would be very much happy to share the experience with anyone who is interested.
Good. Well, our time is drawing to a close. So it just leaves me to say thank you so much, Stephen, Rasheka, Marina, and Lasse, for joining us on this important topic today.
Thank you, Emma.
Okay.
Thank you,
bye.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.